This is WNY News Now with live breaking news.
An investigation into Democratic New York Governor Andrew Cuomo found that he sexually harassed multiple current and former state government employees. That, according to State Attorney General Letitia James, who announced that this morning. Thank you for joining us for WNY News Now. I'm Justin Gould. Nearly 5 months after their investigation started, conducted by two outside lawyers who spoke to over 150 people, found that Cuomo's administration was a hostile work environment and that it was rife with fear and intimidation. James announced the news about an hour ago during a live press conference.
The investigators spoke to 179 individuals, including complainants, current and former members of the executive chamber, state troopers, additional state employees, and others who interacted regularly with the governor. In addition, they reviewed more than 74,000 pieces of evidence, including documents, emails, texts, audio files, and pictures. These interviews and pieces of evidence reveal a deeply disturbing yet clear picture. Governor Cuomo sexually harassed current and former state employees in violation of both federal and state laws.
On at least one occasion, the investigation found that Cuomo and his senior staff worked to retaliate against a former employee who accused him of wrongdoing. Cuomo was also found to have harassed women outside of government, the investigation found. James says the probe wouldn't have been possible without the heroic women who stepped forward.
The governor and his senior team took actions to retaliate against at least one former employee for coming forward with her story, her truth. And Governor Cuomo's administration fostered a toxic workplace that enabled harassment and created a hostile work environment where staffers did not feel comfortable coming forward with complaints about sexual harassment due to a climate of fear and given the power dynamics.
Cuomo faced multiple allegations last winter that he inappropriately touched and sexually harassed women who worked with him or who he met at public events. One aide in Cuomo's office said he even groped her breast. Another, Lindsey Boland, accused Cuomo of kissing her on the lips after a meeting in his office and said she would go out of his way to touch her on her lower back, arms, and legs. The Attorney General's report is expected to play an important role in the ongoing inquiry into the State Assembly's investigation into whether there are grounds for Cuomo to be impeached. The Assembly has hired its own legal team to investigate the conduct, plus other allegations of wrongdoing. The legislator is also looking into whether Cuomo got help from senior aides to write his book about the pandemic and into his handling of the COVID-19 nursing home issues throughout the state. Joining us live to talk more about the reaction coming in now following the investigation's announcement is Norm Green, who's running for Chautauqua County Executive on the Democratic ticket. He's also the chair of the County Democrat Party. Norm, good afternoon. Thank you for joining us on such short notice. I first want to get your reaction to the AG's announcement today.
Well, I thought it was complete. It was quick. It was swift. She put together a report that made it absolutely clear that the governor needs to resign, and I think he needs to resign today.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you look at how long this process has folded out, politics certainly were involved on several levels. However, we've seen that there have been several Democrats throughout the state who have stepped forward in calling for his resignation following this report. From you working in local politics here in Chautauqua County, do you feel that this is something someone in his position must do, and if Cuomo will move forward with that? Because he's all along has said, let's wait for the facts. Well, now we have the facts.
Absolutely, the facts are in, and I certainly was willing to give him the time that he had asked for. But it's clear now that he needs to step down. Kathy Hochul needs to be uh, sworn in as the governor. She was elected lieutenant governor, and this is her job is to pick up when sometimes the glass breaks.
Yeah, and we've seen this movement. A lot of people go back to that Me Too movement, the Me Too era of women, and even in some cases, very rare, but men who come forward and speak out, whether it's at the government level or in private business. Here in New York, it seems like Albany, following today's report, has that culture, which we've heard from these accusers within the governor's office of not only making this possible, inhibiting this behavior, but then covering it up as well. Going forward, is there anything that you want to see done at the state level where we could address some of the things that have been happening behind closed doors?
Well, obviously, we need to put stronger measures in place, and there has to be, a culture change, and maybe we need to elect more women, and we won't have these problems of that we have with the governor. And I consider myself a close friend of the governor, and I was a close friend of his father. Yeah, he did a great job as governor, but it's time to go. There's just no doubt about it.
And to that point, Norm, we've talked before. I know you've been to several events of the governor during your time in the county elections office. You've worked with him, talking to him. The news today, for you, seeing someone like this, someone who you mentioned is a friend of yours, that's got to be tough to hear.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it was just a year ago that we were saying, "Oh, gee, what job might he have? Might he be in the White House?" We were looking forward to his moving up and serving us well. But so I'm hurt, I'm saddened, I'm shocked. But the bottom line is he needs to resign today.
Yeah. All right. Norm Green, Democratic candidate for Chautauqua County Executive and Democratic Party Chair, joining us live on the show today, sir. I really appreciate your time and such short notice in coming on.
My pleasure.